It was to be a routine session, a day like any other of speeches, debate, and the usual back-and-forth tug-of-war familiar in South African politics. The agenda was set to follow its predictable path: lengthy statements, party-line explanations, and mundane sparring on either side of the benches. But what happened on that day stunned even the most experienced political commentators, reporters, and viewers at home. McKenzie, the passionate leader of the Patriotic Alliance, stood up and sent Parliament into complete chaos. Before a guest MP issued a scathing challenge to the political establishment, he called for the immediate arrest of President Sir Ramaphosa. There was no equivocation in his tone, no effort to soften the blow or provide a diplomatic preface. He attacked directly at the jugular. The charge wasn't broad or hinted at, but direct and relentless. McKenzie stated that Ramaphosa had also failed the country, betrayed public trust, and done things that, in his opinion, ought to get him not only out of power but into jail. The force of those charges rang through the chamber with the impact of a thunderclap. There was instant silence, long enough for everyone present to process the words spoken before the room was filled with bedlam. His incendiary words created a shockwave on the benches. Seasoned MPs who had ridden through thousands of controversies seemed taken aback for an instant. Younger members shot anxious glances around, not sure whether to applaud, jeer, or cower from the consequences. As the momentum behind McKenzie's speech built up, the atmosphere within the chamber became stifling. Yells filled the air. Insults and accusations were hurled across the aisle by MPs. Some clapped their desks while others attempted to shout him down. Next, in a scene that would be replayed for years on television and social media, a delegation of MPs engaged in an elaborate walkout. They stood up directly in front of the cameras, a clear demonstration of solidarity or indignation, depending on whose side they were on. Some members of Congress walked out in solidarity with McKenzie, vociferously calling for Ramaphosa to come clean. They contended that the days for polite calls and long-drawn commissions were over. Others, very offended, walked out in protest against what they perceived as an attack on the presidency's dignity. They condemned McKenzie as reckless showboating, as playing on division for political advantage, and as desecrating the very sacred institution of Parliament. The sight of legislators parading out, their footsteps ringing off the chamber floor as Speaker Mosnick fought to regain order, was a powerful image. The ANC's iron grip on Parliament is relaxing. The House of Power, once inviolate, seemed at once vulnerable. McKenzie is familiar with controversy. With his biting rhetoric and bold confrontations, he has made a political career out of defying the establishment. But this time, he pushed further than ever before. The stakes were higher, the timing was bad, and the plainness of language used set this moment apart. He charged Ramaphosa with sheltering behind the political machinery of the ANC, employing the state for personal security, and turning South Africa into, as he described it, a playground for the elites while ordinary citizens suffer. McKenzie called for accountability, true accountability, and not another commission of inquiry that would take years, not another committee that would make promises with reports piling up on government shelves. He expressed the anger of millions of South Africans who have tired of promises endless and assurances vain. If ordinary citizens can be arrested for breaking the law, McKenzie announced, then why should the president be above it? Those few words rang outside Parliament halls. They were copied, referenced, and discussed on radio shows, social media sites, and in living rooms nationwide. The ANC, weakened by years of internal battles for power, scandal, and factional warfare, now endures one of its biggest challenges. The walkout was not merely theatrics. It was proof of just how broken the political scene is. Once thought impregnable, the ruling party is under siege on all sides, opposition cries growing louder, internal factions sharpening their knives, and a more and more impatient populace demanding change. In that unsettled instant, the ANC's tightly controlled image of unity split wide apart for the world to witness. And McKenzie, being the master politician, pounced upon that vulnerability like a lion on injured game. The most remarkable aspect of this drama in the making is President Ramaphosa's silence. As McKenzie called for his arrest and MP staged walkouts in anger, Ramaphosa himself has yet to make a forceful public statement. It is this silence that has become a subject of angry controversy. To some, it indicates steady leadership, a reluctance to give dignity to what in their view is a political stunt. They hold the belief that impulsive action would fuel the tensions further and undermine the government. But for others, the president's silence is filled with indecisiveness and weakness. They think he does not know what to say, fearful of any statement furthering the divisions within his own ranks or further boosting the opposition. One thing is sure, the longer the silence, the more speculation that the president's grip on power is loosening. South Africans are not merely waiting for words. They are waiting for action, clarity, and an exhibition of leadership in a time of crisis. Opposition parties have not lost any time making hay out of the funeral. Opposition leaders, many of whom have bitterly disagreed on policy over the years, are finding common cause with their denunciation of the ANC leadership. McKenzie's indignant call for accountability has been a ringing cry. Even infrequently allied parties are making the moment an opportunity to criticize Ramaphosa's honesty and the ANC's effectiveness at governing. The parliamentary uproar has laid bare underlying grievances percolating nationwide. Economic disparities are still high. Failure in service delivery continues to haunt communities and corruption allegations never cease to amaze. To many citizens, McKenzie's tirade was not merely political drama. It was an echo of their own frustration and disillusionment. South Africa is at a crossroads. What happened in Parliament was not another politician's shouting match. It was a watershed moment, a harbinger that the political orthodoxy is being challenged as never before. It exposed the pent-up frustration seething below the surface, the fissures in the otherwise unshakable pillar of the ANC, and the increasing hunger for accountability at the top echelons of government. McKenzie's demand that Ramaphosa be arrested might have seemed extreme to some, but to others rang deep. It set the country face to face with uncomfortable questions: how much can go wrong before something is done about it? How much longer can politicians hide behind party allegiance or procedural stalling? And more than anything else, who really holds the reins in a democracy, the politicians or the people? Leave your comments below. Do you approve McKenzie's audacious demand? Or do you think Ramaphosa will ride the storm and come out even stronger? Whatever your opinion, this moment will be etched in history as a test of South Africa's democracy and of the leaders that were entrusted with defending it.